ignore the resolution of the River State Caucus of former National Assembly members. Now, they had called for peace, they had called for unity, but most importantly have said that they are with the governor of River State. Well, this morning I will be speaking with a member of the River State Caucus of former National Assembly members, advocates for peace and unity in River State. He is also an industrial engineer and most importantly a former member House of Representatives, represented Akoko Toro Asari Toro Federal Constituency from 2003 to 2011. No other than Chief Honorable Daebi Akpanah. So you're welcome and good morning to you.
Oh, thank you, Ifeemi. Good morning to you also, and good morning to our listeners.
All right, let's cut to the chase and get on with the very first. I think many people would describe this one as what is most important to address, especially coming from your position as a former lawmaker. They say once a lawmaker, always a lawmaker. It doesn't change. I was just trying to give a background of some of the issues in River State politically. Now, before we come to the resolution of the former National Assembly members, I would want us to first, from a political perspective, and as a lawmaker, look at the declaration of the Martin Amaewhule-led lawmakers at the time with regards to shutting down expenditure. Does that arm of government have the powers to shut down expenditure? Are they constitutionally empowered to do so? Even, yes, we know that there's a debate of whether they are legal or not. But that aside, let's just, from a general perspective, does the legislative arm of government have the powers to shut down expenditure?
Well, that's a very important question. And I would say that the power of the legislative arm to put in place an appropriation bill, which is the government expenditure, if that bill is not signed into law, I think the government can operate for roughly about 8 months, after which there has to be some resolution to, put that bill into law. I think that's the understanding I have. But having said that, you have to also examine the legitimacy of that resolution. A resolution, as you know, is not is persuasive. The only time it's binding is when it's based on a point of law. And when I say it's based on a point of law, you also have to look at the where the resolution is coming from. If the resolution is not being made by, the appropriate authority, then, I believe that resolution doesn't even carry any weight. So the question you have to ask is, are these lawmakers, or so-called lawmakers, are they actually in a position to pass a resolution to compel the governor to do, to do what they want him to do? That's the question, I think, and the answer is very clear. I don't think they're in that position right now.
Can you tell us from your perspective why you think they aren't? Because as much as we saw, and then we have video clips and we had letters read on the floor of the House by the Speaker at the time, Martin Amaewhule, before all of this imbroglio came up, some people have gone to say those are not enough to say that a person has defected, that there are party procedures that they have to follow, which would include going to their ward and, deregister and then register in another political party at the ward, and whatever might have happened at the floor of the House or whatever letters might have been read by the Speaker at the time does not validate their defection.
Well,
can you?
I think that is actually, I would say it's a diversion from the event. If you declare that you're leaving a party publicly, both verbally and by written statements, I believe that that should suffice. And I say that because when you look at the Constitution doesn't talk about process. It simply says that when you leave a party without just cause being that there is a division at the national level, then automatically your seat is vacant, because you've left the party that sponsored you. So that's the position of the Constitution. And the first article in the Constitution is that the Constitution is supreme. So, I'm not sure there is any justification for those comments.
All right. It then brings us to the place where we are with regards to the situations in the state following the Supreme Court judgment that had said, well, autonomy for local governments and the conversations around CTCs. What's your position on this? Because there are many that believe that, the first Supreme Court did not say that the CTCs existing are null and void. It only says that it is not recognized by law and so should be perhaps removed, and then the elected officers should take over. There are those that said, following that judgment, every CTC, you are out, you're done for, you shouldn't be there. What's your view as a lawmaker when you look at it now and what the Supreme Court has said? How best do you think this should be handled?
Well, I think the Supreme Court actually, gave the judgment, But the interesting thing that you have to understand is that there's a tenure. There's a tenure of the local government elected officials, and once that tenure expires, automatically, it's not there is no second thoughts about it. Automatically, they cease to be in those official positions, and within that time, normally before the expiration of their tenure, there's supposed to be an election to there's supposed to be an election to elect the incoming officials of the local government. But if that election doesn't take place and their tenure expires, automatically they're out. Now there can't be vacuum in government. You can't have a vacuum. So if the local government officials no longer exist, there has to be some sort of process to make sure that the local government is not left hanging, and that the process of governance goes on. So I believe that there's a position actually for caretaker committees. And this has been done severally. This is not the first time it has been done. It has been ongoing for, since 1999 when this new republic.
Yeah, but that's the confusion for many people now. The Supreme Court is saying this. In fact, some people are saying with the government recently, federal government recently talking about distributing rice and to the most vulnerable in the society, it would have to go to the local government, and then the CTCs in the various states that still operate CTCs would have to be the ones to carry out that process. And the Supreme Court judgment had said that this is alien. So is it that we are misunderstanding the position, or is it a state of, well, the Constitution in itself is what many felt the Supreme Court should have also looked at, and there are provisions in the Constitution that also negates some of the things that were given in that judgment, and perhaps it has emboldened some of the governors to, we'll take our time. It's not because we're not going to implement it, but we can't rush it because, like you said, we can't have vacuum in governance.
Well, there's some things that are just expedient. I'm not really sure how there's several ways to handle that. Maybe you appoint a sole administrator, which basically is what the caretaker committee does. Instead of appointing someone, you appoint a group of people to temporarily, before elections, manage the affairs of the local government. And I believe that that's probably a cleaner way of doing things. Rather than just, first of all, like I keep on making that point, you can't allow a vacuum to exist. That's the first point. So how do you deal with that? And that's the issue. So I think that, you deal with it as best as you can. And in this case, if caretaker committees, which has been the modus operandi, since 1999, it has been the modus operandi. So maybe someone will invent a more efficient way of carrying out that function. But for now, that's what we've been doing. So I'm not sure there is any cause to start to complain, about it. I think the issue really for me is, as much as possible, try to hold the elections before the expiration of the tenure of the former local government, of the local government in place. That's the
and that's where many people are faulting the governor to say you could have been able to do these elections before the tenure of the council chairman elapsed, but you didn't. And now, or RISEC didn't, because I mean, they would say the governor is not in a position to conduct elections. But then people would say RISEC is to be empowered by someone. That's a state government. And that's where we now have the people would think that it's deliberate, was a deliberate attempt, and hence where we are now.
I'm not sure it's deliberate. As you can imagine, I mean, it has been happening all this time. I'm not sure that there was a deliberate attempt. Usually, when the incumbent governor comes in, there usually is a brief period of organization, reorganizing and some of those things that happen. So I don't believe that it's a deliberate attempt to stall a local government from emerging. Like I said, it's been done and it has been existing for a while. It has suddenly become an issue right now. The question to ask is why.
This question then brings us to the press statement that was released by the River State Caucus former National Assembly members. And in there, it's a particular part that read by Honorable Bernard Miko. Regardless of our political affiliations, we stand united in our unwavering belief and conviction that the unity, peace, and progress of River State are paramount and non-negotiable. How does this meeting as former lawmakers, Rivers Caucus, how does it contribute to solving the political differences we have in Rivers State? Because some would say it's coming rather late. Even with the PDP, the governors forum that held the meeting, it wasn't any good they had that meeting. And there was the conversation of where were these people when everything was still at the should I say match fire stage, and now it's almost a volcano, and then we have them coming now. Do we think at this point it's possible to negotiate some sort of peace and stability in the politics of River State? Don't also forget that we've heard from the FCT minister himself also making indirect comments that many have read to mean making the government unbearable, making it unbearable for this administration, even though we know we can't remove or we can't win anything, but we would do. We've heard those comments and we've seen words exchanged from both camps back and forth. So how do you think this would now solve the problem?
Well, first of all, as a Rivers person and as an elder, I consider myself an elder statesman. And that's the reason why, we use that statement. There's sometimes that silence is no longer golden. If something is wrong in your society, it's not just resolution alone. You're looking ultimately for the resolution of the issues, but you still need to speak and speak the truth. We need for River State to develop, for River State to for the people of River State to enjoy the dividends of democracy, there needs to be peace and stability. So any element that is fostering insecurity, instability, needs to be addressed. So I don't see it's never too late to speak out on issues that will foster the well-being of Rivers people.
All right, Chief, hold your thoughts. We'll take a very short commercial. When we come back, there's still more to say with regards to this.
Stay with us. Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info, the conversation continues on the morning crossfire. My name is Ifeemi Andrew, and I'm sure you have been following us. If you haven't, well, get on Facebook now at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH, where you can watch and listen to us at the same time. My guest, Honorable Daebi Akpanah, is still with me in the studio, a former member of the House of Reps. And we've been talking on the several political issues in Rivers State, and I'm sure if you've been following, you've heard his perspective on some of the matters that we've raised and some of the questions I'd asked him. I'll be opening the phone lines shortly and we'll be taking your messages, so you get the opportunity to also ask questions. But one important question, we'll come to that. I was asking him how the activities of the Rivers Caucus of former assembly members help tackle this problem. Same way we're saying, oh, the PDP governors are also saying, oh, we are with you, peace in Rivers State, peace in Rivers State. But beyond just making these statements, is there something deliberate being done, action, steps being taken to resolve this?
Okay. I think we're actually communicating to, the people that they should continue to be steadfast in their belief that we have real governance in Rivers State. And I think we're also appealing to the people that are creating this crisis to please allow Rivers people to, be able to enjoy the fruits of democracy. I'm saying this because, it's what is happening in Rivers State is not happening, it's not happening from, it's not coming out from the blues. It's, I think it's a crisis that is being promoted. And, we need to stand firm and support the incumbent because he has received that mandate. Whoever is promoting the disaffection, the apprehension, should cease and allow Rivers people to exist in peace, harmony, and stability.
All right. So quickly, I'll put one more question and then we'll let the listener ask you the remaining ones. The local government elections, already a date had been set for October. RISEC are working with that date. Hopefully for now, no change has been announced and we hope that none will follow. In several other states, Delta State being one of them, local government elections have been conducted. The PDP won all of the political, won all the seats in, I think, 23 or 25 local governments they have in Delta State. In Rivers State, recently, the drama we are seeing within the PDP has brought people to begin to question what the local government election would look like. And court order coming in to say, well, you can't hold convention. That's for the PDP now. As at this moment, we still do not even know who would represent the party at the local government elections. There are even possibly even more talks that with the way the national leadership of the party have been looking at the situation in Rivers State and the manner in which they've been responding, it doesn't seem as though there's much interest in securing the party in Rivers State. In your opinion, and the position of the former lawmakers trying to see how this is resolved, you would agree that from the party level is one of the major ways via which this could be resolved, especially when you look at the fact that all the players involved are from that political party. So with the elections around the corner and the situation at the moment, would you see the PDP even thriving in the local government elections? Do you think that at that local government elections, before we get to that bridge, these matters within the party could have been resolved?
Well, hopefully they will have been resolved. But, you're asking me a very speculative question. And, it's I really don't want to start getting into that scenario, because everything is still a bit fluid right now. But hopefully, with the intervention of the Governors Forum, PDP Governor Forum, by the time it comes around, all the issues will have been resolved and, there is unity in our river system. So, for me, right now, the last thing I want to do is start speculating about elections. I have active politics. I have removed myself from active politics. I'm operating purely as a statesman at this period.
But is there anything from position of a statesman? Is there suggestions that you would have given to
everybody will present their candidates? That's basically how elections work.
No, I would mean suggestions to
every party will present its candidate, and at the end of the day, the people will decide who is the person that they prefer.
Okay, not for the elections per se, but suggestions that you would have given to the leadership of the PDP in Rivers State that would contribute to resolving the impasse that we're facing.
What can you see more than what the governors forum has said? We should all try to. Rivers is, irrespective of political political affiliation, we're all one family. The primary interest of every Rivers person is the peace, progress, and development of Rivers State. I don't think anybody should be, there's Mark Twain made a statement, loyalty to country, always. Loyalty to government when it deserves it. So, for us, the state is our prime loyalty will be with the state. How do we bring about, the development of River State? The River State, the former governor has done a lot of things in River State regards to infrastructure. But governance is not just about infrastructure, it's also about leadership. It's about leadership, it's about respect for individuals, respect for institutions. It's about integrity, it's about transparency and accountability. And most importantly, government's position is not personal. River State is nobody's farm. Government position is held in trust for the people. So the defense and the maintenance and the defense of the public trust is paramount. So when you talk about elections, for me, at this point, you look at candidates. It's not really about who you present as a party. You look at the candidates, the persons involved in the elections, and you make your decisions. I hope, by the grace of God, that we'll get to that point where we'll start looking at candidates more than party. I hope by the grace of God we get to that point.
Let's open the phone lines and take a few calls. I'm sure many of the listeners are itching to ask a question or two. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. Now remember, on Facebook it is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. On WhatsApp, this one says, I must say that the PDP seems not to understand or recognize the importance of the governor in the scheme of things. I trust the governor of the treasure base of the nation. He knows the right button to touch or press. Minimal prayer sent in that message. This one says, Ifemi, good morning. Please ask your guest that if the president is now organizing caretaker committee in the seat of governors before election, how would they feel? Shei from Elelewon. Okay, someone is asking, we're saying caretakers for local government. If it was a federal state government situation and then for whatever reason elections were not conducted in the state, is there a constitutional provision as to who acts? And then because they're trying to liken what's happening at the local government to the state.
It's difficult.
So what happens there?
Okay, first of all, part of the issues with the local government and states is that local government is 3 years and the state is 4 years. So the time of election does not coincide. It's always...
So it makes it difficult.
Of course. For the federal, it's almost impossible for it to happen because the elections are conducted at the same time. So, if the tenure of the president expires, the tenure of the president expires as everybody's tenure is expiring. So, if and there is also actually some kind of provision
in the Constitution to address that challenge.
I'm not sure if it's in the Constitution, but there are some provisions to before the expiration of a tenure, It might be a constitutional amendment. I'm not sure if a law can actually make it happen. But there is a provision for the National Assembly, but that provision is only until an election can be conducted. To stay on until an election can be conducted. Because, really, if, the vacuum is what we all try to avoid when there is no government.
So in other words, you would believe that if we have the state government term 3 years, like we have the local government term 3 years,
yes.
But then the presidency, the federal government, the presidency is 4 years. Could we then see something like what we're seeing between state government and local government, where at the national level, the president will now have to look at what we have to do to fill in the gap for states before we can have.
I think that might be one solution, because what is happening right now at the federal level, it's almost impossible. As you understand, everybody's tenure expires simultaneously. At the state level, it's a bit more difficult because the staggering of tenures creates some problems. So anytime an incumbent comes in, it takes some time for the wheels of government to start running efficiently. So you can actually look at it and say, okay, maybe there is an excuse for what is happening, but there shouldn't be a vacuum. That's the thing that people need to understand. Who runs the government? Okay, maybe you can even say, okay, at the end of the day, who runs the government when tenure of the incumbent has expired? That is the issue. And you also understand, I think it's very important to understand that we're in a federal system, and that federal system, the federating units are the states. So those local governments are actually the responsibility of the governor. About whether this has been happening since 1999.
Let's go to the moment quickly. Justice from Omudioga, I will start with you. Just want to get your 4 questions, and let's keep it simple and straight to the point. Hello, Justice. Good morning.
My friend Andrew. Good morning.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yes. On the matters arising on the political issues in Rivers State. First is that I want to commend the Governor Fubara, that in spite of the political crisis in the state, he has maintained his resolve in giving back to the society, in providing dividends to the democratic Rivers people. You hardly see the governor complaining. Instead, you see him inspecting projects, doing projects, going to ensure that Rivers people are feeling the impact of the government. Very, very important. I commend it for that. Mostly the flag off of the construction of Omudioga Omokuru. And I'm telling you that as an Omudioga person that we live in the village, as soon as this project is completed, it will open up this area. Investors will come. I want to commend the governor for that. On the local government, on the issue of local government in Rivers State, fine and good. It is no longer needed. The tenure of former local government chairman has expired on the 15th of June. And research has since said election will be conducted on October 5th. People who have interest should go and declare interest, buy your funds, go to the grassroots and do your campaign. If you're good, the people will support you. So this former local government chairman saying we are still chairman, we are still acting. He's wrong. He's marketing the state. And I don't know why the police has continued to barricade the council secretary. And the risk is checked very well. We have lost money. People cannot go to the council to do business. Look, workers that local government workers cannot go and work. We have lost money on this. And there are laws supporting, there are laws backing up this, that local government theatrical administration is not a wrong way. All
right, Justice. Thank you very much. Let's move on to another caller. I think you already made your point. You're taking most of the time. We have to move on. Ibiso from Odili Road. Good morning.
Yes, and good morning. Good morning to the honorable in the studio.
All right, go on, Ibiso.
Yes, PDP governors throwing their weight to back the governor. It's a welcome development because the governor is a member of PDP and they don't have to allow him to work alone. That is a welcome development. Let me talk about the local government. Guest is talking about. To me, my own suggestion is the governors, before their tenure expiration, they conduct election 3 months to their tenure expiration. So let the various states or the federal government make a kind of a law that before the local government chairman, their tenure will elapse, they should conduct election. Because if they do not conduct election and they allow them to their tenure elapse, they must be critical. So they should look into the constitution and amend that side of the constitution. Now the governors, the president, if they say, okay, the president will contest after his tenure, you see that there will be interim administration. So they should look in that angle and make it like that. So before in 3 months that you leave office, you conduct election. If you win, you stay back. If you don't win, you go.
All right, Ibiso, thank you. Leighton Barry from Bori, good morning.
Good morning, Big Timmy. All
right, straight to the point. Go on.
Yes, let me ask a question before I say what I want to say. If you mean, for example, if a Supreme Court vacates the seat of a governor of a state, will they say it will take time for the governor to vacate the seat? Because the Supreme Court gave an order or made a pronouncement as regards to local government, barring the affairs of the governor from the local government. That is for governors not to interfere in local government autonomy, whether financial autonomy and all that. And we are still saying it will take time for the governor.
Leighton Barry, I think we're misinterpreting the judgments of the Supreme Court or misdirecting it. We get your question, but before my guest, let me just clarify so that we understand. I think we had it on the news several times. The Supreme Court did not say that all the local government CTC chairmen now should vacate their seats. That was not what the judgment was for. It granted autonomy to local government and interpreted by saying institution of CTC is not constitutional. That's what it says. So what that simply means is now nobody should go forward to install CTCs. We have different views to it and different lawyers giving different contributions. But you see most of the states already planning to conduct elections because that judgment has come, especially those states that already were operating CTCs before the judgment. There's almost nothing that they can do except now to plan and conduct elections. Delta State is one of the examples. Victor in Rumokrishi, good morning.
Okay, good morning. My understanding in this very constitution that says automatically means you are no more, whether you stay in your village to defect, or you stay in your room to defect. The constitution, what I understand here is that the constitution says you are automatically, your seat automatically means you don't even need. I've never heard where the constitution says that they need to go and interpret it in the court of law. I didn't understand. I didn't get it very well. But that is that. I want to advise my governor, please. We should not be every time be making conversation of this group of people. They are no more the House of Assembly. They are no more the lawmakers. So we should not be, because every time we make conversation of them, we make them look relevant. Please, so that you will not distract the governor. Because what I understand is that they are trying to distract the governor so that in 2027 he will not have what to show. So please, the governor should not even be listening to them. He should concentrate, please, so that he will have something to show in 2027. Thank you.
And now let's quickly hear from David from NTA Road, and then we come back to my guest and wrap up.
Good morning.
Good morning, David. Let's hear you quickly.
Okay. The problem with us as a people is waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Yes. Is it now people are realizing that governors are faulting the system of local government just because it is not favoring you at this point in time? Before now, the courts have ruled that governor has no power to remove local government from office. But these governors, including we here, remove governors illegally. And some of these people who are making noise now never said, oh, it's faulty, it's wrong. Same to Rose Vivo, the judges of the Supreme Court, ruled separately that it's executive rascality for the governor to remove local government chairman from office. But they did. And Section 1 says there must be local government at all times.
chairmen, and people are not bothered. But today, because it does not favor them, they are making noise all over the place. Until we begin to do proper things in electioneering, have beavers and IRF work, some of these men cannot even win councillorship in their places, but they are banking on writing of results. That is why we are having this.
All right,
Let
David.
us talk the first thing first. Let the electioneering process be clean, so that these political bandits will go to their houses and allow the system to function properly.
David, thank you. Thank you, David. Chief, let's come back to you quickly. We have about 2 minutes to wrap up, so we'll get your response in that 2 minutes. You've heard some of the callers. Well, again, as a stakeholder, a chieftain, an elder statesman, what is next for the Rivers Caucus for former assembly members?
Okay, let me just refer to, let me go to our president Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has made a commitment to building a nation, and in that commitment, he talked about national values charter. That means what is expected from the people and what the people should expect from the government. I think the last stanza, and he also instituted the
anthem,
the new national anthem. And I want to quote the last stanza.
Okay, a few seconds.
O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. So with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. I think that sums up all of our aspirations for this country.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Honorable Daebi Akpanah. I hope to have you here in the future as matters continue to arise. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Hello Port Harcourt comes up next. Stay tuned.